Hi, my name is Renee Lee. I'm a first-year JD student at Cuhk. I moved permanently to Hong Kong about 7 months ago. I speak English, Cantonese, and Spanish fluently. Prior to moving to Hong Kong, I worked for Deloitte Consulting for about 3.5 years, and I got my undergraduate degree at Cornell University. So some of you are probably wondering why it is exactly that I want to run for GLSA president. Well, about 2 weeks into starting this program, I realized that I never really felt like we had the appropriate resources as students, and also that we never really knew where to go to for questions or concerns. Furthermore, I felt like we don't really have a sense of an identified law faculty community. As GLSA president, I want to build this stronger sense of a law faculty community, and I also want to fight for our student rights and our student benefits. In order to do this, I propose a number of activities to get people more involved and also for us to improve the program. The first thing I would propose is a GLSA bilingual website. In fact, I've already created the shell with this with the help of a second-year law student, and you can reach the actual website to look at the mock-up at www.reneelee.20x.cc/CUHK. Please note that it's totally in a work in progress, but you can definitely get a flavor for what the website will eventually look like. This will be a great platform for students to air their concerns and just have a confidential, non-CUHK affiliated space to post their suggestions and get their voice heard. Some other things that the website can accomplish is having a proper calendar of student events. We could also have a monthly newsletter and articles contributed by students for the students. We could also have student forums where we can talk about how do we appeal grades, or who's a good lecturer, who's a bad lecturer, what courses should we consider, or just general tips. We also don't have a career services for us dedicated to law faculty students, so we could also have a career services section on the website. Furthermore, we could have some fun things like a photo gallery and also a classifieds and book swap section, because I think all of you agree that Moodle is not a great way to actually go about doing that. Furthermore, I think we need public monthly meetings open to the student body and also to the GLSA and the faculty. Currently, we don't have a formal meeting where we can share our thoughts and ideas and air our concerns. So I think it's important that we have an established monthly meeting so we can have clear channels of communications with the students, the faculty, and the GLSA. Thirdly, we don't have enough student networking and community service events. I really think it's important that we get to know each other. I pass by a lot of you in the hallways, and I don't feel like I know you that well. And I think we can really accomplish this by having maybe networking events, not just recruiting events, networking events with other law programs like HKU or CityU. We could have karaoke nights at Causeway Bay, like I mentioned before, although you probably don't want to listen to me sing. We could have an actual Christmas ball. It seems like all the other programs have something like that, and I think we need that too. In addition, we could probably invest in having actual discussions with former alumni, doing networking events with other graduate law programs, having maybe graduate law student field trips, such as the MBA programs do, to other countries even, or mainland China, so that we can build our legal practice awareness. Fourthly, I think we need an actual buddy program. I don't know about you guys, but I feel a little lost sometimes, and it would be really nice if I could have a formal buddy to kind of get an idea. How do I do this, or where do I go for this? And it would be a really great way for me to feel like I could be just as successful as everyone else. Lastly, I would like to institute a panel of CUHK law faculty students with a record of success, such as a traineeship contract or pupillage contract. Most of us right now are just knee-deep in job applications, and it's really difficult sometimes because we don't have someone to ask, hey, what's the best way to go about contacting this firm? Or if I'm interested in doing a pupillage, what should I do? So I think we should have students who are successful be available for questioning and for discussions. I believe in a GLSA voice that will embody the entire community. I'm enthusiastic about bringing my previous suggestions, and I'm eager to also hear what you guys have to say and any thoughts that you might have. As a hardworking, capable, and confident leader, I feel like we can make vast improvements to our program. So please vote Renee Lee for a more unified law faculty community, an even more active GLSA, and a much stronger student voice for our rights and our benefits. Thank you.
Good evening to the current GLSA executives, the election committee, the candidates, and the fellow students. Hello, I'm Teresa, and I'm a first-year student in the JD program. I'm running for GLSA's treasurer for the next academic year. For a little bit of our background, I graduated last year from the University of Toronto with a degree in life sciences. Although my area of study was not in the field of business, I am experienced in handling money as the president of a Chinese student club in the University of Toronto. I organized talent shows and joint university singing contests where I had to keep a close connection with business corporations to solicit their financial support for our events. For one of those events, I solicited the title and diamond sponsorship, and I was responsible for managing the allocation for that sum. Without that money, our show couldn't have succeeded. With my previous experience in dealing with financial matters, I'm confident that I can well manage GLSA's revenue and expenditures for the upcoming year. I'm conscientious and neat in my work, and I'm sure that if I become next year's treasurer, I will keep a detailed and transparent account of GLSA's financial report. If I become the treasurer, I would also contact the relevant persons in the Chinese University Postgraduate Student Association and try to strive for some funding allocation for the GLSA. Hopefully, this money can then be used to improve the student life in GLC as the committee sees fit. Finally, if you want to say hi or if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to stop me on the hallway or approach me anytime. I believe I can excel as being the GLSA treasurer in the upcoming academic year. My name is Teresa Luck, and please remember to vote for me as your treasurer for next year. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Howard, and I'm a first-year JD student like most of you, and I'm running for the candidacy of the full-time JD student representative this year. My goal is to serve the entire JD student body and to reflect concerns and opinions of all the students in issues such as course election, course feedback, student life, etc. to the faculty in charge. It is important and indeed vital that students are able to communicate with the faculty on a more direct, face-to-face basis to effectively convey our opinions to ensure improvements are to be made. It will not only benefit us, but also students enrolling in the future. Moreover, the implementation of a mentor system will also effectively enhance our understanding during our course of study in the Faculty of Law. It is also essential to establish a more interactive communication platform not only limited to current JD students, but also to include LLM students that will surely help to expand our network. I promise that if I'm elected as the JD student representative, I shall try my very best to achieve these goals in order to build a stronger GLSA community with all of you. Thank you for your support, and your votes means a lot to all of us. Thank you.
Hi, my name is David Wu, and I'm running for the office of Treasurer. Before I talk about why I want this position and what I hope to accomplish, let me first introduce myself. I was born in the United States and moved to Hong Kong at a young age. Here, I studied in Hong Kong International School, and later my parents sent me to boarding school. I got my undergraduate degree in economics at the Brand National University. As your treasurer, my role will be to handle the financial matters of the GLSA. This would include preparing budgets, financial statements, keeping financial records, organizing fundraisers, and other important money matters. My predominant responsibility will deal with the funding of clubs and activities. In this respect, I think there is much room for growth. One major area I think we need to develop is the Graduate Law School Student Alumni Association. As a vast majority of our students here will be pursuing careers in law and other related fields, it is important that we develop this area. I understand that our alumni network is just being born, but it is for this very reason that we must consider how to develop these relationships. Those graduates are paving the way for us and future students. Some say the quality of a school is only as good as its graduates. We must support our alumni, and our alumni must support us. At the very least, we should have some sort of system to keep mutual contact with each other. Future classes can expand the system into reunions and open house forums. If it were possible now, I'm sure we would be curious to know how our predecessors are faring in the legal world and what words of wisdom they would have. This is merely one example of many things that need to be done to improve our quality of education. Many things that we as students want to do will require funding. Therefore, it is all the more important that as our school and the program becomes more established, we have a good foundation in place. By providing a solid support system, we can ensure that our development will not experience any unnecessary setbacks. This requires that positions like treasurer and other GLSA positions are filled by dedicated and capable candidates. I'm running for treasurer because I think it is the position that suits me best. I would be comfortable and effective in such a position. From a young age, I learned the value of money. When I was about 6 or 7, my parents opened a savings account for me. And since then, I've grown quite adept at managing my own funds. As I mentioned in my profile, I've had quite a bit of experience in different student-run organizations during boarding school and university. In boarding school, I was a member of the business committee for both the Asian Society and the Asian Magazine. If any of you have seen my Got Rice sweatshirt, we were responsible for making and selling those sweatshirts to fund our club activities. That funding allowed us to have club dinners, weekend yamta, and other crucial activities that made boarding school as good an experience as it was. I was also the co-founder and co-editor-in-chief of our school's first dedicated science magazine called Helix. 6 years later, Helix magazine still remains today. I hope our fellow students will also wish to create similarly long-lasting initiatives. During university, I participated in both the business club and investment club. The former organized school events to promote business and entrepreneurial culture, and the latter taught and practiced our financial skills. During those years, I also held several internships at multinational firms. They taught me the value of working efficiently to make the best of what I had and to attack every task with vigor. I've always enjoyed working in teams, but as the sole intern, most of my projects were done independently. As treasurer for the GLSA, I feel that my experiences will be helpful in fulfilling my duties and the needs of other members. I cannot promise that we'll be giving out free meals or having crazy parties, but I can promise that I will try my best to make sure that finances do not impede student initiatives, that money is merely a means to an end. You can count on me to do my best to support and facilitate student programs, and I hope you will allow me to take part in improving your law school experience by supporting me in upcoming elections. Vote David Wu for treasurer. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Grace Falk, and I'm a first-year JD student running for internal vice president of GLSA. As a recent graduate of Emory University, I was highly involved in the student community as an executive member of various student associations, where my responsibilities range from voicing concerns to organizing campus-wide events. As a result, I've acquired a lot of experiences in instigating changes, enhancing communication, and develop interpersonal skills that are necessary for me to serve you as your internal vice president. But instead of dwelling on my past experiences, I want to share with you what I can bring to you and my vision for the future success of our faculty. I'm running for internal vice president because I see the perspective for a more vibrant culture at our school. We have such a diverse and talented group of individuals, but there could be more opportunities for us to interact with each other outside the academic context. To improve unity within the faculty, I propose to organize monthly social and recreational events, such as mixers, local excursions, and sporting events, to promote bonding and networking opportunities with our fellow classmates. Effectively, I hope our program can cultivate valuable relationships and become a milestone in every student's careers, which in turn will strengthen our alumni network for future students. If I were elected, I would strive to offer more resources to improve your experience at Chinese University. For example, we should have an implicit check and balance on the professors, and the way to do this is to establish a confidential forum strictly for students. Basically, this allows you to exchange feedback on the workload, quality of teaching, and the difficulty of materials for each course, so you can select your course with guidance and confidence. Furthermore, I wish to set up a centralized online notice for internship and contract training opportunities, with relevant information such as deadlines, contract links, and dates for career talks. Because if successfully implemented, I believe we would save time on gathering relevant application information, and we would be less likely to miss the application deadlines. I also suggest regular pro bono opportunities with the dual function of enhancing our students' resumes and also, more importantly, to reach out and contribute back to our society. As your internal vice president candidate, I hope to address any grievances, and I'm open to feedback on my suggestions. My ultimate mission is to make everyone feel like an integral part of the faculty and provide ample assistance in furthering your careers. Having established for merely 3 years in Hong Kong, our program requires the drive and commitment that I have to advance our program in a gradual and orderly progress. Therefore, I urge you to vote for me as your internal vice president to unleash our program's momentum to its full potential. If you feel like you're lacking a student community, we don't have guidance in selecting our courses, and we don't have an efficient career database, and we're not active enough in reaching out to our community, I hope you vote for me for internal vice president. Thank you.
Hello, fellow students. I'm Celestine, and hope you are all doing well. I'm first-year JD student running for the GLSA secretary. So at first, I'll just briefly introduce myself. I was originated from Singapore, and I grew up in Hong Kong and educated in Hong Kong and Australia. And during my study, I have interned for the Hong Kong government and also some local newspapers. And upon graduation, I have worked in an investment bank, part of the events marketing department, organizing conferences and events. So through all these experiences, I have developed strong organization skills and also administration and detail-minded skills. So why I would like to be elected as the secretary of the GLSA, because I have also noticed we need more representations and more voices to represent our fellow students to the committee and improve communications with the faculty. So to be a secretary, I'll make sure that the committee is in shape. Every committee member is sticking to their own role, taking their responsibilities, and make sure they will attend meetings regularly and on time. So in order to facilitate all this enhancement, I'll make sure that agendas will be set prior to each meetings, and also collect all the recommendations and opinions from other students and address them in the agendas, and make sure these issues will be raised out in the meetings and the committee have act upon it. And after each meetings, I will prepare and complete a detailed minutes. And also, in order to improve transparency of the committee, I propose to publish the minutes and agendas online so that all students can keep track of what the committee is working on and what issues has been discussed. I know that we're all brilliant individuals, and I'm sure that we will create a powerful team to create a better life for every law student studying in CUHK. So I promise that if I am elected as a secretary of the GLSA, I will work to my utmost. I will work my very best to serve everyone as a secretary of the GLSA. And thank you very much. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Bonnie. I'm running for external vice president. So a little bit about myself. I worked in the field of marketing and corporate strategy before I joined law school. And during my MBA studies, I also worked for a consulting club and initiated Singapore career track for my fellow students. And we also held experience sharing sessions from professionals from the field. And as external vice president, I'll be representing the CHK Graduate Law School to different law firms and other institutions in Hong Kong society. My objective, my ultimate aim will be to promote CUHK Graduate Law School as a brand. Hopefully we can use resources from the school, staff, and our fellow students to actively reach out to the law firms. We don't only ask them to come, but to promote our program's quality and sell our students as their potential employees. Even though we are relatively new, but I believe the quality of our students and our faculty will persuade them how great our program is. Also, there will be network events with other institutions like Hong Kong U or City U. I'll try to initiate some joint university events to establish connections with our future colleagues. Secondly, I also want to cooperate with the school to increase publicity and media coverage for the program. Thirdly, networking with alumni cocktail events, and hopefully during those events they can share their experience as a solicitor or barristers. And lastly, liaise with Hong Kong Bar Association or the Law Society and see if we can do any events with them for experience sharings. And that's it for my speech, and thank you. Please vote for us, Bonnie Lau for External Vice President and Renee Lee for President. Thank you.
各位同学，你们好，我是郑庆东 Patrick， 我是这次 GLSA Internal President 的候选人。请原谅我的普通话不很标准，但是我有一些很重要的东西告诉大家。在过去的一个学期，我跟很多同学交流了很多有关学习上的问题，包括考试评估、选课上的问题、资源中心的资源供应，还有很多其他的问题。但是最重要的就是很多同学并不因为他们的意见能够被反映。如果我们当选的话，我会要求学院定期跟学生见面，我也会定期收集同学的意见，并向学院反映。我会要求院方安排读师有需要的时候提供适当的意见。我还会向院方建议增加选科的多元性和灵活性，估计实现这个安排。我本人具有相当的工作经验，包括专业和大学的教学经验，请你投我一票，让我把大家的声音反映出去。谢谢。My dear fellow students of the postgraduate law school, I'm Patrick Zhang, a first-year JD student. I'm a candidate for the internal vice president of GLSA. During the first term at the law school of CU Hong Kong, I shared with many of my fellow students their learning experiences. I also heard many useful suggestions on how to enhance these experiences. Among them, many students were concerned about the lack of feedback on their academic performance. Other students were concerned about the diversity and availability of elective courses. And some other students want mentoring from the faculty. Others were frustrated by the inadequate resources in the resource center and the examination timetables. The most important issue is, however, they do not believe that their voices are being heard by the faculty members. If I'm elected as the internal VP, I will do the following. I will meet my fellow students on a regular basis, face-to-face, to collect opinions and suggestions. I will request the faculty members to meet students on a regular basis. I will recommend to the faculty that they establish a mentoring system within and outside the faculty and legal professions so that our students will obtain professional and personal guidance. As we know that many of our students, when they graduate, they're not lawyers at all. I will request the faculty to carefully consider the diversity and availability of elective to maximize the opportunities for students to individualize their programs. I will request the faculty to also consider examination timetabling because the current timetable where multiple units are tested on the same day effectively precludes students from choosing those subjects. But how can I do that? I'm a professional with medical and psychological backgrounds and teaching experience at tertiary level. I have a good understanding of how the faculties and universities work. In summary, I will work energetically to address the above issues and give all students a voice and a power to make their courses the best possible so that we can be proud to be graduate of CU Hong Kong Law Faculty. I'm Patrick, please vote me. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, I am Yehan. It's my honor to run for the representative of LM Common Law program. First of all, I would like to introduce myself briefly. I graduated from Shandong University and got my LLB degree and Master of Philosophy degree in China mainland. I firmly believe my background is an advantage in running for the LM representative. As you may know, there are many LM students who also came from China mainland. We speak the same language, we share the same culture background, and facing the same challenges ahead. Secondly, as for my goal, I have to say there is only one aim, that is to request the faculty to give more attention to LM students. There are many LM students who complain that they received little guidance or advices on their future careers. There are less LM students attending the career talks, since most of these talks were attributed to PCLL candidates. LM degree is not eligible to apply the PCLL program, but a career as a lawyer is not only choice for the law school students. Investment banks, commercial banks, and other business are also required people who own a law degree and a legal education background. There are only 3 methods to go before we bid farewell to GLC. I have to say I don't have such power and time to make a big change, but fortunately, I have a good team. I have good friends. They are local residents, and they have a great life experience here, and most importantly, they support my goal. Maybe it is too late to make changes, maybe it is not. The change of GLC would also give us a better support and a social network after we graduate from here. So please cast your vote for your own interest and believe that early will bring the changes, the better we shall reap the benefits. At last, I have to say, whether I win or not, I simply hope that this speech would obtain more attention in order to benefit LLM students. LM students are not a minority in faculty, and we want to get more attention. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Carson. And in high school, my psychology teacher taught us a class on classical conditioning. And every time she said classical conditioning, we had to say Pavlov the dog. So in that way, she classically conditions us to know Pavlov the dog. So during my speech now, every time I say the word secretary, you guys say Carson. Okay, we're going to practice. Secretary. Carson! Perfect. Okay, let's do it one more time. I feel like it. Secretary. Carson! Okay. I'm running for the GLSA secretary. Carson! Regarding the position of secretary, Carson! I have a lot of experience. I have experience in high school. I ACETED for the student council, organizing dances and talent shows during my undergrad at University of Toronto, where I majored in film studies and psychology. I was the secretary for CINSU, Cinema Studies Student Union, and where I understand what is expected to be a secretary. I know, and I know what the duties are. And I also write for the newspaper, the Innes Herald. When I was in U of T, I was also on the editorial committee of an academic journal. These roles requires me to be collected, punctual, and organized. And I think these qualities are what being a secretary entails. As your secretary, I will make sure my minutes for each meeting are concise and tidy and presented in a timely manner. I will communicate with other members constantly and also assist the president or both internal, external vice presidents to realize our goals as a GLSA committee. I'm very devoted into the work of secretary. Carson! So vote for me. And that was the boring part of my speech. Now is the fun part and the more musical part of my speech. Me. How many minutes do I have left? Okay. Me. Okay. I always wake up with the morning sun. I always take my pills with herbal tea. I almost never cry and I always wonder why. I always have to watch TV before I go to sleep. I really like my life and I also tell you what, if you vote for me, I will never let you down. My minutes will be neat and tidy as you read. I'll give you my best if you would vote for me. Thank you.
Hi, I am Zhang Jun from mainland China. In Chinese, my name means handsome and smart. In fact, I'm not as beautiful as my name. You can also call me Alan. It's my great honor to stand here running for the candidacy of full-time LLM student representative. I obtained my bachelor's degree in law in Ocean University of China last year and came here Chinese University of Hong Kong for LLM program, majoring in international economic law. As you say, there are many Chinese students who are also taking LLM program in our faculty. Therefore, I think the biggest advantages for me is that there is no language and culture gap between us. Even though we may not from the same university, the same place, but we shared almost the same educational background. And I think this will help me to better understand what the real concerns and problems we encountered in our studies. So I wish, on behalf of the LLM communities, to reflect the opinions and concerns to the faculty through the platform of GLSA. Also, I wish to combine the efforts of other LLM student representatives like Victor to build an effective platform to offer help and assistance to LLM students who are not familiar with Hong Kong. As a student representative of international economic law, I shall do my best to serve the student body. So thank you so much.
My name is Stanley Wong, and maybe I'll give you a little background. I graduated from MIT, and then I got my MBA, and then I came back to Hong Kong, and I worked in commercial banking. I have quite a bit of experience in management because I've merged banks in Hong Kong. Some of you might know, but there was a bank called Far East Bank, and there was a little bank called Hong Kong Bank, and I merged the two and created a bank called First Pacific Bank, which has now been sold to Bank of East Asia. Okay, I'm commercial bank trained. I was trained at Chase Bank in New York. I've had assignments in New York and Hong Kong. So I have experience. Right now, I'm just an entrepreneur. I run the flower shop. So it's a big switch for me. And most of the comments I got from my friends are that it's a waste of talent. Why do you want to run a bank? From running a bank, why do you run a flower shop? And I was just tired of the power lunches, the expense accounts, and I just decided to get out. Okay, the flower business is tough. You have to be hands-on. I think I want to tell you why I got involved with the GLSA. It was a very tough decision for me because, I discussed it with my family and said, why do I want to take away the president position when somebody can put it on the CV and says, I was president of GLSA? For me to do that would have preempted someone, let's say Renee, to put that on the resume. And I think that forced me to do a lot of soul searching. But then I thought about it, and then I realized that to take away one resume from the GLSA and yet have a team of members on the GLSA. For example, we have 13 people on the platform now. And if I can be the leader of the GLSA president, and then do something positive and have a team of people working with me who's got a sense of accomplishment. That to me was, in terms of trade-off, mitigated the guilt that I would have taking away the opportunity. Now, having said that, even win or lose, I take pride in being here, because some of you may not be aware. When I got involved, there was only 2 candidates with the GLSA. I went around, Patrick, I talked Howard into it, you know, Howard's crazy, but all of us are crazy. So we ended with 5, and then we realized that if we went ahead with the vote, we would end up only with 4 people. And the Constitution is like that. You cannot run for multiple positions. You cannot form a coalition government. I went back to the GSSA, and it was hard. Okay? Nobody supported me. I went back to Richmond, and I begged to see the board. It was a very strong appeal. I want to see the board, all of you. Okay? I want to make my case. And lo and behold, there's 13 crazy people running for the GLSA. And I think that's very positive, okay? The fact that the attendance here is very good is something that I'm proud of. And so I think that win or lose, I think we've accomplished something, okay? And I think the key is we've got to, I'm sure we've been this before, you know, I tell you, of the 13 people in this room, I've recruited 7 people, including myself. So, but are we a party line? Absolutely not. Patrick and I can't even agree what to have for breakfast. We fight all the time, and I think that's the key. We have to agree to disagree. Okay? That's the key, okay? So I don't care who got you to join. If I get elected president, we will do our darnest to do the good job now. Where the issues are, I can tell you what the issues are. I'm sure all of you have done this before. But let me explain to you. Running out, okay, think about it, okay? We just gotta have representation. We have more, look, there's no LLM students here, okay? We just gotta get everybody involved, okay? We're gonna have representation, we have to have continuity, we have to have accountability. If elected, all the people who make all the promises here will have to be accountable to all the student bodies, because we don't want empty promises, okay? We have to be accountable to everyone, and we will perform, okay? We will get things done, but you have to realize that there's scarce resources, okay? So we're not making empty promises, we will deliver. And I hope I'll get the chance to be and make ourselves proud of CU Law School, okay? I graduated from MIT, but I want to be CU to be the best of best law school in Hong Kong. I don't care we're young, okay? We will take on the Hong Kong U, and we will also put City U on, Chinese U on the map, okay? And that takes hard work, okay?
Have some questions, right?
I have some questions.
Yes, Richmond.
This is for both of you, and you guys can decide how in what order you want to answer it. But how do you intend to bring the different groups of students together in terms of the ones who come from overseas, the ones who come from mainland, and the local students, and also students who come from different educational backgrounds and different nations?
So as like I mentioned before in my statement, I think we really need more general networking events. And as I mentioned before, even something small like getting Hot Pot together as a group, or something more formal like an alumni networking event, I think would be really critical. Furthermore, I think once this website is formally launched, I think people will be a lot more comfortable sort of finding out about what's going on, regardless of what program they're in or what age group they're in. And it'll give them the opportunity to also make suggestions, so we can even find out exactly what it is. Okay, so what is someone in an LL program on? What sort of event are they interested in? We can put up a survey, we can get a poll going. So I think if I'm president, this is something we definitely institute pretty easily. The software is already up and running, and I think getting a student poll and just getting out there, talking to people and organizing events is the key step to start improving things.
I think the real issue is that how do you transcend the cliques and the clans? I mean, I'm an ABC, I'm a CBC, I'm from Beijing, okay? And you see that in Chinese University right now, okay? We have 2 websites for CUJD students, okay? And I can understand that, okay? We also have a CU a graduate student website. So I think the key is really we have to integrate, okay? We like to do our own thing, but we have to try and pull all the resources together. I looked at the JD website, I don't see, and obviously I don't see the LLM students on there, okay? So I think that we should use technology and try to put everybody together. But again, this is words of wisdom from my cohort, Patrick, okay? We have to do face-to-face. And I can tell you, it's not just campaign talk. I went out and I met Victor at the Amani bar, okay? And we bumped into each other, and I called him up and said, Victor, this is going downhill. We've got to do something to get more participation. And I went back to look at some statistics. And do you realize there's 300 LLM students? 300 LLM students. So right now, it's like we have two universities. China University, China branch, with a lot of LLM students from China. And we've got Hong Kong, JD students, very little LLM. So that great divide has to be broken. I think we've done that. I mean, Victor and Alan, I mean, the first reaction they gave me was that we have a lot of exams, okay? And that's that pressure, okay? But we've got to pull together. And I will tell you that the problems we suffer as JD, and I can tell you JD students are the most aggressive, most outgoing. And think about that. There's no one on the LM program running for the 5 positions. Okay? Now, I would have welcomed Victor and Alan to run for those positions, but when we were doing this, we realized that we had to get more representation. So it was like a structured thing where we said we want to get in, we don't want to get eliminated. Okay? So next year, I expect that there'll be 5 candidates running for positions from LLM, from JD. Okay? I mean, by nature, I'm sure all of you know. I mean, Dave, you grew up in the States, right? I mean, when I was going to MIT, you know, the guys from the Western world who grew up were just more aggressive. Okay? I was sort of half-half. Okay? I was born and raised in Hong Kong. And then China culture tends to be 中庸之道, okay? Chinese people tend to be more reserved, okay? But Victor and Alan has come up, okay? So what we have to do is encourage them, okay? That don't be cynical. We'll have to change the world slowly, okay? But we can't do it overnight. But I see that it's next year. I would like to see 5 candidates from the LM program, okay? But the key is really close that divide. And where we'll find unity, I think, is we all face common issues with the faculty. Okay? The faculty, I mean, you would think the faculty is abusing Patrick, but come on, backtrack a little bit. If you're from China and you're not very outgoing, who gets abused more? Okay? Sometimes in Hong Kong, when I have a complaint, I speak English because the people answering the complaint phone lines in English are better trained. Because why those complaint? They write up, you know, they make noises. Okay? You know, 中國人, you know, from China. Oh, you know, we cheat them in Tsim Sha Tsui. I'm not saying the faculty cheat them, okay? But the tendency tends to be, you know, if we store, we will.
Okay.
Okay.
Within the faculty, what are you going to do? Certain events? Are you going to, you know, manage fortunate relationships? How are you going to do that? That's what I'm saying.
Okay, ladies first.
No, I want to follow up. I think I'm, you know, not getting. I think it's me, but I think I'm not getting.
You're not getting what I'm saying. Okay, for example,
what tangible steps are you going to take to build these relationships?
With what?
Within the students.
Oh no, for example, I'll give you an example with moving in the LLM students, okay? As the GLSA, we deliver, okay? For example, right now, I don't know if you're aware, but if you go to an internship program, you go to all these recruitment programs, okay? The LLM students are left out in the cold. There's nothing really. Now, I haven't been to one of these things, but again, from feedback, okay? All the recruitment programs, okay, don't cater to LLM students, and I tell you why. Because they can't practice in Hong Kong, right? Because they don't have the PCLL, okay? But the reality is the issue is that if I were a corporate company in Hong Kong, I would get students with law background, because Victor is a qualified lawyer, right? And if I can get him to come into my company and work for me, and educate my workers about the Chinese culture, and get Victor to act more like David, okay? Then there's that sharing. So I think that to win the hearts of the LM students, okay, as a GLSA, I'll go out and get a recruitment program set up so that we'll talk to the corporate world and say, we've got a bunch of talented LM students, okay? Give them a job, okay? And if we don't have enough money, we'll get corporate sponsors to sponsor the trainees so that we can get them into the corporate world in Hong Kong, right? Because let's face it, the JD students also need them, because when you have a problem in Beijing, and despite all the things you learn about Chinese contract, one of these days you might win a lawsuit because Victor is a senior partner of a very senior law firm with very good relationship with the judges, right?
Sorry. I think
Right?
you're getting off topic.
No, I'm not getting off topic. I'm just saying the key of the reality situation is that. My point is that, you know,
object because
Yeah,
you
there's no
shouldn't
time
comment
issue.
on his speech. I don't think it's fair to say that. I don't think
no,
you're right
no,
to
but the
say
key
that.
is, okay, the key is, you know, we're office bearers. We're running for things, okay? People want performance, okay? We want to talk. I mean, all this. I'm telling you, you ask what my agenda is. My agenda is all of the above, okay? Websites, everything else. I can count that out, okay? But I'm telling you, that's all talk, okay? We have to deliver. I'm telling you, to win over the LLM, okay? I'm not talking about expatriates, okay? And the American board people, CBC people can take it themselves, okay? By nature. That might not even be true, okay? But our top priority now is bring back the LLM students in our fold. And yet, there's a lot of commonality. We're all victims of the same neglect. I was going to say something. Adopt a student. As the faculty appeal to you, adopt a China student, a Hong Kong student, right? Adopt us, because we're being ignored. Okay, now, I don't know why, okay? But we've got to get attention. Okay, we've got to improve our learning experience, and that's what I will do. You know, results deliver. Empty promises, okay? I'm not Obama, okay?
Is that what you said?
Yeah, we will deliver within our resources.
Okay, thanks. I have a few more questions. Just a couple of points before I go on. It was my fault. I should have told candidates to limit their answers to 2 minutes. So, Valerie, can you time it for 2 minutes? Sorry, that was my fault. The next question I have, and again, you guys can decide for that if I'm going to. The GLSA is a volunteer organization. So there's no paycheck hanging over anybody. So you're not obliged per se to come in and work. So knowing that everybody's a volunteer, they can walk away at any moment, how do you intend to keep them motivated and keep them working for the school?
I don't know if any of you know this, but I more or less have dedicated most of my life to nonprofit work and philanthropy. My father runs an Asian American Civic Association in Boston and has been doing so for the last 30 years. So since I was 3 years old, I've more or less been giving back to the Asian community. So I strongly believe in volunteer work, community service. I'm a volunteer for the Department of Migrant Workers with Gunawan. So at least on my end, I know my dedication is there. And I think most of you know that I'm extremely enthusiastic, and I like to think that I'm pretty infectious. And I really think that I can incite this sort of same enthusiasm from people who are on the GLSA, and not just them, but also the students. Just when I walk around and talk to people and say, hey, you know, what do you think about doing this? Or how do you feel about this website? Like, do you like this layout? What, you know, if I do this bilingual, where do you think this should go? And I think that people are genuinely interested. If you're out there getting your voice heard, getting involved, having events, just talking to people, I think that's pretty critical, and that's how you basically maintain a lot of enthusiasm for people to work hard and play hard for something like the GLSA and the greater student body.
I think we all have our personal values, and I'm not as charismatic as Renee, okay? But as a more practical person, okay? I think the key is really to motivate people and set an example, okay? If I'm going to flunk my courses and I have to drop a course to get this done, and rather than say next year bye-bye, we're going to have to deliver, okay? So we're talking about leadership, okay? So as a leader, I will set an example, okay? Secondly, I think that, fine, you know, I always say this, charity is fine, but you don't do charity work to go to heaven, okay? You do charity work and you accomplish something, you want to do something, okay? So my issue is that we will accomplish something, and maybe I have a lot more experience, but the key is I can bring in databases. We can write. You know, I don't have that many personal connections. I run a flower shop, but I can tell you that with the LM students, we can draft out the best brochure that we can send out to the corporate world and let them know that we have this hidden, this hidden power base called the China students, and everybody wants to do business in China, and this is going to be the network of the future. So, but they don't know, right? The LMM are keeping to themselves. They don't know how to promote themselves. David, I mean, you know, you guys, you know, I mean, Carson, you know, you're a promoter, okay? Put those skills to work for our friends, okay? I mean, they don't do this. They won't come up the same, okay? But you would, that's fine, okay? And let's have those values merge, okay? And then just do it, get on with it. And then we've got marketing people, Bon's got promoter. They're not, you know, they are quite I don't know what word to pass it, but the culture in China is that, you know, you wear the same uniform, okay? So you toe the party line, and they're coming out of that shell. That's why Victor and Alan is here. I mean, it's monumental. They're not going to be symbolic, you know, participants, and that's why we want. They have one vote. I mean, with all due respect, bear in mind, each of them has one vote, and I don't care what. I'm president. Okay.
Okay. I have a question for Stanley. In your answer to Richmond's earlier question, you've sort of admitted that you have never been to any one of the recruitment talks. And from your many years of banking experience, I think it's fair to conclude that your career path as a law student is going to be quite different, if you may, from the majority of the law students.
Sure.
So how can you persuade us that, like, if you're elected as president, that you're going to have the same interests as the majority of the law students? And yeah,
absolutely. You see, that's where we can get away from personalities, okay? I have a team of people, okay? I've got Celestine, whoever is going to win. I've got David, right? I've got Carson, okay? I'm just here. I'm just a person who's going to manage and delegate, okay? I'm not going to be the one who's going to be contacting all the, and sending all the emails for recruitments, okay? We've got separations. And if the burden gets too large, we want to talk to the law firms. For example, if you guys want to work in an internship in a Beijing law firm, okay? Who's the best person to do that? Victor or Ellen, right? They're not external affairs. They will do it for us, okay? So let's be honest. We'll be flexible. We'll have separation of duties, okay? But to answer your question, Jeffrey, I'm not me. I'm just a facilitator. I'm just the person. I think
you misunderstood my question. First of all, I want to say that your approach as a president is going to be fairly hands-off as a delegate.
Yeah, I would.
So, and the next question would be.
No, I don't think that's fair. Okay.
I was saying the interest is not aligned here. So I'm not saying how well you're going to delegate your jobs. I'm saying that the interest itself is not aligned.
It's aligned because, you know...
And you don't have the experience, and you're not going through the same thing that we're going through, so how are you going to...
Okay, you know, Jeffrey, I'm sorry, okay? Does the guy know how to run a phone company? Is he technology trained?
I think...
I mean, you know, no, I think it's a fair question, and I appreciate that question, but I'm telling you, I'm not a one-man band. I'm not Stanley Wong, president GLSA, okay? I'm Stanley Wong, GLSA, with a team of dedicated, motivated members. I mean, that's completely different. It's going to be process-driven and not personality-driven. Okay, I think that's a different management model. Of course, I'll be a leader. Okay, but at the end of the day, we'll vote and we'll move on, and we'll regroup. You know, the old classical structure of our organization is, you know, hustle as strategy. You hustle. I'm sure all of you learned in business school, right? We form groups. We have a mission. We deliver. Okay, and then we form.
Mr. Wong, can I ask a question?
Yes. You call me Stanley. I mean, it's okay. And you are?
Gerald.
And Gerald, what program are you in?
I'm in second year.
Okay, good. And you're from?
I'm from Canada.
Okay, all right.
So I haven't looked over your campaign passport, but I'm concerned that you're worried about there's a divide between faculty.
Oh no! I said there was a divide between LLM students.
Okay.
I didn't. I mean, I said there was a divide between LLM students, right? I mean, we're all in the same boat. The separation of LLM and us is there, right? The faculty, I never said the word divide. I mean, it's taped, okay? So I don't think I used that word.
Right. Looking at your point number one.
My point number one on
your election campaign, you want to see the GLSA to be an effective channel of communication.
Right.
How do you propose to do that with the faculty and the GLSA?
Okay, I mean, but everybody's covered that. But you know, one of the things that we talked about was to have a town hall meeting. Okay, I mean, but that can get confrontational. But one of the things that I've considered, and I stand to be corrected, but I think we should get some faculty members as advisors.
We do have an advisor.
Okay, but
David Donald.
okay, but where is that information? Renee, I mean, you probably heard it from someone, right?
If you attended the first meeting for the GLSA elections, you would have known. So.
Renee,
And
you see,
I'm pretty sure we
with all due respect, okay? Did you get a copy of the Constitution during the GLSA election meeting?
No, but I didn't need it. So.
You didn't need it, okay? You didn't need it. You were going to run for the GLSA?
No,
No, I asked for it. You see? So, I mean, with all due respect,
I'm sorry, I have to give some credit to Richmond. We already discussed the Constitution part.
I'm not attacking Richmond, okay?
But I'm
not
just saying
attacking
that, like,
Richmond,
it's
okay?
fair.
Let Stanley finish.
Yeah, I'm not attacking Richmond, but I think the key is you can run for office, right? You have to look at the Constitution, okay? I didn't find the Constitution when I was sitting on the line and I asked for it, okay? And I think that's the key. We have to be detail-oriented and we have to communicate on a broad basis, okay? I appreciate that there are personal relationships that, you know, we get along, but there's also the need to be level playing ground.
2 minutes.
Does anybody else have questions?
Yeah, I'm just curious as to both, for both presidents. As basically the front man of GLSA.
I'm sorry, maybe you can introduce yourself because
I'm Canola Wong, second year JD, secretary of GLSA.
And you're from Hong Kong?
I'm from Toronto, Canada. So there will be a lot of students who will have different opinions who may actually give you a lot of opinion as president. How will you handle a situation like that, and also how would you handle conflict within your team?
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks, Dan.
I'm on the hot seat, so yeah.
Well, you know, there's always somebody that's going to hate you, right? No matter what you do in life, whether it's running for president, you know, for GLSA, or if it's on a group project. I come from a consulting background, so every 3 to 6 months, I would have to reshift my entire group of managers, partners, other consultants that I work with. And inevitably, somebody would not get along with somebody else, or you wouldn't get along with them. And I think what usually works is that you have to have clear lines of communication with your whole team. If there's ever an issue, you should be able to air it out. You should be transparent, and you shouldn't feel uncomfortable that you can't talk to somebody about something that you might not like. And when you're faced with challenge, sometimes you realize, okay, you know, it is what it is, right? You have to rise above it. You can't let yourself get bogged down by it, as I was very well told very recently. And you just have to stay positive and think about the future and the things that you can accomplish. And because you cannot satisfy everybody. And so you just have to push forward and get as much people's opinions as you can. That's why I'm really pushing this idea of having survey polls, meetings with students, so that we can get a better holistic idea of what students actually want. So that way it'll mitigate, it'll minimize any noise, any unhappiness, because we're just trying to make this a better program. And we want to represent everyone, and we want everyone to be as happy as they can be. So I think that's probably how I approach it.
I got a question. Oh, sorry. Stanley first.
Yeah, I think the key is really, it's like running a company, and all of you might probably know, but I think the key is after our cabinet is formed, okay, we need to do some alignments and put our value system on the table. And so we agree first, rather than find out later, okay? So I think the key is we have to do some brainwashing and thrashing out so that we understand where we're coming from, okay? Taking them from that, I'm taking mediation, okay? Then, you know, we have to mediate, okay? But I don't think, I think there'll be substantial issues that we will be aligned on, okay? I hope we can get that. I can't make no assumptions, okay? But then it's going to be a vote, okay? I think the key, if I were elected president, that I wouldn't make a lot of sensitive decisions, okay, by myself, okay? I would, you know, with technology the way it is, I would just email you guys, you've got an idea, we exchange ideas, and if we need a face-to-face to hammer it out, we'll hammer it out, okay? So I think use technology, internet to communicate, but there's nothing with body contact, I mean eye contact. It says, hey, come on, Patrick, you know, are you being anal about this, okay? I mean, you know, we will just thrash it out, I'm sorry, okay? And then we'll vote, okay? And then we move on, okay? I mean, it's not, I mean, if you find that you're always against you, I mean, then that's not likely, okay? People realign, okay? But there's going to be commonality of purpose. And I tell you, if we do this GLSA properly, we're going to set the stage for future GLSA. Okay? So it's not going to be short term. Now, let me just explain. There's a lot of concern about the short-termness of the GLSA. We doom ourselves to failure because the Constitution needs to be revamped. You know, the membership and the way it is, and that's why LMs don't participate, because by the time they get involved, they're gone. Okay, so my idea is we do it. Well, I mean, I don't know what it is, but I'm not the NPC. Okay, but we're going to do the first thing we're going to do is review the Constitution, because it's a flawed document. Okay, it's a flawed document.
I got a question probably counteracting Jeffrey's question for Renee. In JD and LLM, we got a large amount of people, like me, I'm a doctor, medical practitioner. We got accountant, we got bankers, we got entrepreneurs, we got lots of people who got a family, children, who don't go out to bar to socialize. We don't get onto Facebook. We don't actually even get onto the internet, even check email sometimes. So how do you know what we need? And what would you do to address what we need and then fight for the interest for us?
And I absolutely agree with you, Patrick.
Yeah.
I think there are multiple interests that need to be represented
Yeah.
here. It's not just these young ABCs that like to party in the weekend and long by phone. I'm well aware of
Yeah.
that. And I'm not just that person either, right?
Mhm.
I'm Chinese as well. My family is from here, so I identify with having a Chinese family. My parents are here. So I understand the importance. Okay, I have to go home. Maybe I have children, things like that. And furthermore, I think the best way to address that issue is, like I said before, we really need to get out there and have these meetings so these concerns can be addressed. I think the rights for everyone really need to be put up in the open air. For example, right now, we have so many part-time JD students, and I don't even know how they struggle with working and their workload. I don't think they have the appropriate resources right now to help them with maybe taking notes, exams. We don't have anything set up like that. One little thing at Cornell University is that you could pay a small fee each month to have maybe recordings of notes or notes taking for you. That's something that I could see being really helpful for some of our more overtaxed students, maybe our part-time students or our LM students, things like that. So this is just an example of the sort of things that I think that would reach everyone, not just the JD students, not just the LM students. I'm well aware that it's not just the JD, even though we're in the forefront. I know that that's not the case. Is there anything else?
Would you like to add something?
Yeah, I think the real key is, with all due respect, Renee, okay, you just come back to Hong Kong for 7 months, right?
Right.
And you were born and raised in
But my family's here.
okay,
and I come here every
understand.
year.
Okay, now,
Yeah.
you see, the mission that's challenging us requires a lot of local expertise. Okay, I appreciate where we're coming from, but I'm saying to you, I'm not trying to sell myself to you. Okay, you're a very experienced manager in the corporate world. I've done a lot of things. Okay, I'm not faculty. You have to pay me. Okay, and bear with an old guy for 1 year, and we'll do that. Okay, we'll get it right, and we'll take it on. See, I'm sensitive to this as well. My son thinks I'm donkey. Okay? And just my son graduated from MIT, my daughter went to BU, okay? So they think I'm dorky. He said, dorky, the word, right? So I think the key is that you're getting someone who's very experienced, okay? I'm not telling you I'm so well connected.
Right?
Yeah. No, but you see, Renee, there's a lot of issues with LLM, okay? A lot of the issues now that needs to be grappled with. We can't do study group and surveys until we die because some of us are getting involved because we want action now. We want feedback. We don't want to feedback and then go on the exam, right? We want to go on the exam with not even knowing what a midterm is. And then it's like going to Macau, right? I mean, I don't want to wait. I want the faculty to do something this term so we have feedback, right? And if you don't want to give me the model answers, we'll go to the student body and say, will you release your grade A paper? And we'll release on a no-name basis, right? I call this DIY legal school, right? We'll do it ourselves, right? We don't need them to say, remember, I mean, this is kind of funny, but, all the questions we said, well, we can't give you the notes because I might be violating trademark. Christ almighty, you are the law school and you can't even figure out how to give us good teaching material without infringing trademarks? And you tell us because of privacy ordinance, I can't give you a grade A paper? Come on, give me a break, okay? All you have to do is ask the student, can you give me a grade A paper? Do you release it on a no-name basis? I didn't get too many A's, okay? But my A papers, I'll be glad to be able to share them with you, and especially Victor and and Victor and him, they have no idea going into what a JD paper looks like.
2 minutes.
Right? I mean, what's a 2 minute? I mean, this is important.
Everybody's entitled to 2 minutes, so we'll stick with 2 minutes. I have a final question for the presidential candidate before we move on to the next batch. And before I ask it, I want to remind all candidates or everybody speaking tonight to be mindful of their language, and I think everybody knows what words to avoid. Okay, my question for both of you again, as before, you guys decide the order. Now, campaign promises are one thing, and my question is, how do you plan to translate your ideas into reality based on the personality? Now, a lot of the things in terms of the role of the president depends on your personality, managing relationships, not only with your GLSA team, but with the faculty, with firms, with barristers, with charities. Now, the GLSA this year has done a lot of good work, everybody here. Everybody has done very good work on building and establishing relationships. Now, what I want to know is how each of you will continue that tradition of building relationships, of maintaining relationships with all the groups that I mentioned.
So I think relationship management is probably the most key attribute to have in consulting, and actually now as law students that are trying to find a job, whether it's in a firm or with a barrister in council chambers. Because if you can't build those relationships, it's very likely that you can't succeed. So I know the importance of relationship building, whether that's from the bottom or from the top. You have to talk to everybody, whether it's at the analyst level or at the partner level, it doesn't matter. And I also realize that talking about something is one thing and actually doing something is another thing. Well, I'm doing it. The website's up, and I really hope you guys will take a look at it and give me your feedback and let me know what you think. And it's more or less ready to get student feedback. And furthermore, I think I've also been talking to a lot of individuals that I think, for example, that could be on this panel of more experienced students. I've also been talking to other students in the LLM program and also in the JD program if they would be interested in something like being a buddy, because I think everyone really needs a little extra help every now and then. So I'm all about keeping these relationships, maintaining these relationships, also mentoring other people so that they too can have these relationship building skills and actually doing the things that I promised to do. It's not just an empty promise.
My answer is again, I mean, the GLSA, if we form a good team, right? We're gonna have it's like football, right? There's gonna be a quarterback. I'm gonna be the quarterback. There's gonna be defensive tackle. Okay, so the key is in a board, there are people with different skills. Okay, and I think the key is, for example, body's not contested position, so people seek their own level. But I think Bonnie probably enjoys being extroverted, going out. Okay, so that's fine. I mean, that's her skills. So as president, I don't have to be the key contact between the constituents, right? So my key is really to delegate, and I will manage. Okay, the key is really, Patrick is also a very good resource. Okay, so the key is, and then Victor, and Alan. So each of them have their strengths, and the key. I go back. It's like a football team. You can't, one person cannot do everything. So I'm not going to be talking to a lot of people, right? We're going to target things and say, oh, if we're going to do this for the LLM students, maybe these companies might have a use for an LLM with like Victor, and how do we get them to be interested? Okay, so those relationships will be managed through my team, okay, and not necessarily through me. I mean, that would be how we do it, because we all have our strengths and weaknesses.
You're the face for the GLSA.
Right.
You will be out there talking to recruiters.
Not okay.
You will be.
Why would that be?
Because you are the face of our student community.
I'm not sure I would agree with that, but my team will be out there. Okay, my team will be out there. So, but I'll be there. I won't be hiding away, but the team will be out there. So we'll be triple teaming every time or whatever. It won't be one person. Okay? And the issue is how effective we'll be managing time, and that's the key. But the idea will be that we've got a very strong GLSA. It's not going to be standing long.
Well, thank you for being here.
For treasurers, right? Sometimes actually for every expenditure that you spend, right, you have to keep the receipts. So what happens if you lost the receipts? And how would you relate it to your president, and what would you say? How do you deal with the problem?
Well, if it's already lost, then I would be frank and tell the president that it's already not there, right? But if it's my fault, I would just try my best to search if there is any evidence of what money has been used. For example, maybe, if that money has been used, then I can calculate it by deduction from, for example, what the amount of money first and then after the transaction, what's the money after. I'm pretty sure using simple mathematics and ways of deduction and intuitive, then it could be calculated.
I lost my receipt, I would try and go back to the place that where the purchase was made or whatever, and see if they had a record there. If it was credit card or something, I would call the bank or get a receipt that way. If it's pure cash, then it'd be a lot harder. I wouldn't know really how to get a receipt.
David, I have a question for the sort of the late joiners to the committee. We had 2 deadlines for the election, and Carson, we'll go from your side. Okay? For example, what prompted you to join the GLSA in the 11th hour?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, you.
all of us. Because my friend was doing volunteer work, and he asked us, are you guys running for anything in GLSA? And I was like, oh no, we didn't even know there's like a thing, like when it's a deadline. And then he was like, oh, you should join. So like we wrote a candidate statement and we submitted it. And
But basically you weren't aware that there was a GLSA election, right, going on?
we know, but we don't know when the deadline is. Or yeah.
Irrelevant.
Bonnie, you were in, right? So
Yeah,
David.
irrelevant.
I mean, I knew about the election, but I wasn't too sure whether I wanted to join for several reasons. One, work and study, time-wise. And second was because, no offense, but the GLSA is not, it's kind of hack, it seems.
I'm sorry, it's kind of
hack, just not serious, not established yet. I wasn't sure if I wanted to put in the time.
But what made you change your mind? Sorry?
Yeah, so I read the email when it was first sent, and I did consider joining it. But the reason why it took me a lot of time because I was involved with student associations before when I was in university. I know it's not an easy position. I do have to give my time and be very dedicated to it. So considering the amount of workload that last year was pretty, I know it's considerably less compared to the workload that I'll get next year. So I just wanted to have a feeling of what's the workload of the second year and just make a balance to see if I'm able to do it. And there was my decision.
Oh, I wasn't sure at the beginning as well. I received the email, but I wasn't clear about the deadline. And then Renee motivated me to join, and I really wanted to be a part of this faculty and make it better because I think there are a lot of flaws that could be improved in the system.
I joined as a candidate of secretary because Stanley motivated me to participate in this election. And after I looked at the positions, I think I'm quite suitable for the position secretary because I have relevant experience and I think I'm good in writing and stuff. So I think I may give it a try. So that's why I'm here.
Last two candidates there?
One of us was saying, sorry.
They were both there during the second time, so.
What is the question that Stanley asked?
Well, they joined in the first deadline. It wasn't the last deadline. Yeah, they were.
Okay.
Because we did the last crunch.
Okay, well, I have a question for Patrick. So, and it's a very quick question. You mentioned that you have a medical qualification as a physician. You're a practitioner right now?
No.
Okay. Based on your, say, are you doing any sort of part-time work or anything like that, or are you just full-time now? Okay. I was sort of worried that you were working as a doctor at the same time and you also have lots of all right. Okay. Any other questions from other people?
I'm just sort of interested to know why you decided to do law degree.
Well, I think the subject interesting, so I like the subject, and it's quite different from medicine. I've been practicing for a while, so I want to change. And secondly, actually, I'm quite interested in medical law, and I want to practice and specialize in those areas. I want to do the bar. And I'm here. And I joined here, and met lots of people, friendly people, and lots of mature students, and they're really eager to do something here. But I also recognize a lot of problem in this faculty because new, first of all, and you walk along the corridor, talk to people, there are lots of dissatisfaction about the course. I don't want to mention that again, but if you want to count, I don't have enough fingers to count. I think the most important thing for GLSA is to really address these problems. Well, I got experience in life, I got work experience, I supervise my subordinates as well. And you've got to be tough to the faculties because otherwise they don't deliver what you want. Okay, they just say, well, you're students, and I want to do this. No way you can change it, no way. That's not true. We pay a lot of money here. We are consumer, and we want the service. We really want the service. We got so many subjects there. We got midterm assessments and no feedback. And even at the end of examination, there's no feedback. Tell me what on earth it calls.
Right, there's
you
no
come here, no
protocol.
feedback, and just examination result. I'd rather invest my money in the area of beyond than you. They have external degree and they have fantastic feedback system. You've got everything in hand, and it's far less than what we pay. That's the reason. You want our money worth, not just a degree. You can get a law, so easy to get a law degree. You can get a law degree, CPE, LLB. You want to be a lawyer, easy. So we just want our money back. Not back, but worth, not back. So you got to have a top person to talk to faculty.
I have one more question. I mean, given the fact that some people might have been elected because or joined because I pushed them, and some of you because of Renee or by your own volition, but for the candidates that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 of them up there, right? Do you see any difficulties working with me or working with Renee? I mean, David, do you see any problems?
No, I don't see any problems. I'm a team player, so if I don't like you or what you do, I will tell you.
Can I say something? I think this is a campaign. And by the end of the day, after this, whoever is elected, you become a team again. And all the students who can't be elected is still the family. I don't want this thing become a kind of splitting event to split people up. It's not necessary. But if you don't want to win, you won't be here. That's why we are aggressive, and that's all. I think that's my attitude. It doesn't mean anything at all on top of that.
Yeah, once you're in as GLSA as a team, we'll all be working together. That's our experience.
And it's very, very important to work together as a team, and also to remember that you're here to serve the students. You'll be met with a lot of challenges. We'll be discussing with each one of you once you've been elected into office. There are a lot of, we acknowledge the concerns that you have as students. We also face these similar challenges. But after you're elected into office, you will realize there are some challenges that are more difficult to overcome, and that it will take a lot more time. And with the newly elected committee, we'll be sitting down with each one of you to discuss it in detail and in privacy, because there are quite a few things that, as GLSA, that you do have to remain strong within, and you don't want to put the burdens that you're faced with onto the students, which is why there may be some misunderstandings. Okay? So I think that's everything.
And last thing I want to say is that even though in an organization like this, we have different roles, and president is not necessarily superior than anybody else. We just assign different roles to organize or coordinate different things. So I don't think there's any subordination structure in this committee or the board, because we're all equal. We just play different roles. So I don't want to, that kind of hierarchical structure that I would listen to someone whatsoever.
And I think what you said really echoes
just different roles rather than
Camilla said.
hierarchy.
Anything else? Thank you so much, guys. Remember to send your posters.